2002 inductee Miriam Therese Winter, affectionately known as MT, is a medical mission sister, a feminist, a composer, and author of many books on biblical women, women's liturgy, and liturgical music. She is a member of the faculty at Hartford Seminary and the founder of the Women's Leadership Institute.
I think the Spirit is the sacredness at the center of all living things, at the center of the universe.
MT is one of the few saints I know.
I think we're all vehicles for the energy, and she's just an absolute delightful vehicle for the energy that flows through her.
MT is a woman of prayer. MT is a woman of spirit. MT is a woman of faith. MT is a woman of passion.
It's rare to be in the presence of someone who brings so much of God's presence with them.
I'm always surprised by the intensity of the Spirit within me, the intensity of the energy. Sometimes I don't know where it comes from, seemingly, and I just get wound up and I go. But I've learned long ago simply to let go and let the Spirit use me as a channel and as a vessel. I was born to Irene and Matt Winter. I was the third child and the first daughter, and my mom was delighted in having a daughter. So was my dad, and had a great sense of love from my family. We lived in a cold water flat above my grandfather's saloon, and one day I decided when I was very young I wanted to learn to play the piano. So I took lessons at the local church, and I practiced in the bar room, in the dance hall, in the saloon on this piano until my father decided he'd better get me a piano, which was a huge sacrifice in those days. And before even I got to the piano, I wrote my first poem. So I've had this love affair with poetry and then also eventually with music ever since I was a little girl of 6. I lived in New Jersey during school time. But then in the summer, I went up to my other grandparents' place in the Catskill Mountains. And there I just had this love affair with all that is. I just loved the isness of things. I loved the stars. I loved the moon. I loved the insects at night, the insect chorus in the summer evenings. I loved the woods. So I would just walk and write and think and just be. And so I had that kind of sense of just loving nature. When I came back home to Passaic, I would just sit and reimagine all of this with my poetry because things were always more than you could see. You know, I didn't just see a tree, I saw something metaphorically. And so I found myself just simply wrestling with life through poetry. And I loved school and went to high school. I became a cheerleader and I went to proms and I did all kinds of things, but I always knew that somehow I was being led somewhere beyond just the ordinary family life, but I knew that was not my call, and I felt this pull toward a religious vocation to become a sister. So I collected all these brochures and tried to pick out just precisely the right community for me, particularly Africa, because I knew I wanted to be a doctor and go to Africa and work with the Zulus. And the one thing I did not want to ever do was teach. And so the Medical Mission Sisters was the last brochure that I had collected in a bag of several hundred. And I said, Medical Mission Sisters is for me. So I entered this community to become a doctor, went through training. After 2 years of pre-medical preparation, we were all caught up in the throes of Vatican II, and I was asked, would I be willing to study sacred music? And I wasn't inclined to say no, but it broke my heart to say yes. And so I picked up a guitar and I thought, well, at least I can learn 3 chords and sing. And began to sing into the universe out of my own inner angst. Songs like, I saw raindrops on my window. Joy is like the rain. Laughter runs across my pain, slips away and comes again. Joy is like the rain. Joy is like the rain, never dreaming that there was something in that song that would change the rest of my life. Music is, for me, the way I process life, quite honestly. I don't like to use the phrase professional musician. I just simply say I'm a singer of songs. Just like I write poetry, I sing songs. I began singing because we lost Latin, and we needed something to sing in English. It was as pragmatic as that. And because the Catholic liturgy had a theme, the biblical theme, and we were hearing the Bible in English, and I said, oh, there's a theme about the Spirit. We need to sing a song about the Spirit, or the stories about Zacchaeus.
There was a man in Jericho called Zacchaeus.
So I sang those songs as a liturgical response, which is why I think they went so quickly, so widely, to so many places.
They were tall, but Zacchaeus, he was small, yet the Lord loved Zacchaeus better than them all.
But I had written a mass called Mass of a Pilgrim People back in 1967, which had a strong beat to the glory to God, and was with guitars, which had been forbidden, and drums and bass. And we were invited to join the first ecumenical concert in the history of Carnegie Hall. It was a sellout crowd, and people were just so welcoming of these strange creatures on stage, singing and praising God.
The Holy Spirit, in the glory of God the Father.
I've always had this call to move beyond where I am. And if I went north, then I want to go south. And in Africa, I love Africa. I love the people. I love the place. There is a deep ancient spirit there that you know is probably the cradle of from which all of us have come. And the forests and the plains and the people and the dancing and the drumming and the wisdom. And people say, well, you teach and you travel Southeast Asia and India, and you sing songs and you do all these things. But for me, it's just me, a singer of songs, who walks the earth and receives the wisdom of people and shares God. So it's all one thing, it's all in one piece.
It makes us no different. Going on with the Lord. Going on with the Lord.
I'd like to bring musical groups in, and I heard that there was a choir at the women's prison in Niantic that did gospel music, and I invited them to come, and they were fantastic. And I said, you ought to make a record. And they said, we'd love to. We don't know how. I said, I can do that. And I thought they could earn some money. We could sell them, and they would have some money when they left the prison for themselves. And within an eye blink, they said, no way. They voted that all the money would go to children with AIDS. And to date, they have been a major contributor to Yale New Haven Pediatrics AIDS Clinic from the sale of these cassettes. I was called to the position at Harvard Seminary to establish the whole area of liturgy, worship, and spirituality, and also to help integrate, to be a woman, a core faculty person, female. And I was intrigued because of the strong Islamic Muslim presence, because of the integration of Bible theology and now spirituality, an openness to a larger world vision that we actually practiced here together, and thought I would only stay a little while. And I've been here for 22 years. Feminist spirituality is primarily spirituality is practiced by women, but not exclusively so. It is a spirituality that is very inclusive, that is embodied, that is not simply in the head only, but makes practical application to all of life, cares about the environment, cares about the world we live in, and tries to link the sacred and the secular in a way that there is not a separation between the two. It is something that is not contained within any kind of boundary. And I feel just the very word religion is a boundaried word. Religion is related to culture, to society, to a particular time and place and a set of circumstances. But spirituality transcends that. It is something that at the very core of the word finds its meaning in spirit not so much in the spiritual, but in the spirit. And the second core word within spirituality, as I see it, is ritual. So it's spirit-inspired rituals, life rituals, sacred rituals, secular rituals. It's life lived with meaning, knowing there's more to life than that which one can see. I would like to say to women and to men and to young girls, trust the spirits. Trust the spirit within you. Trust that God's spirit is within you, and that your capacity to love and to become who you are and to make a difference in the world is there